I've always been bad with directions. Even when I have a clear map, I'm forever getting lost. One night, back in 1997, I was on the road to an old friend's place about 25 miles from me. My name's Joel. Ryan and I had been in college together and became best friends until we went our own ways some 20 years ago. We played football together and I was really looking forward to catching up on lost time. I was traveling along a pretty much deserted main road with the directions to Ryan's place on my dashboard. Simple enough, a couple of turns left and right and I'd be there. There was some fog rolling in from the higher ground, so I had my main beams on. I must admit, I found the unfamiliar road a little spooky as I'd never traveled in that area and the incoming fog didn't help. It was a bit strange that I hadn't passed one other vehicle. I continued for another 2 miles around a long bend in the road. The fog was getting worse and suddenly I braked sharply as a big signboard came into view in front of my headlights. Roadworks ahead, it said with a warning sign. The main road was cordoned off and an arrow pointing right signaled a detour. Exercise caution, it said. In the foggy mist of my headlights, another sign next to it read, "We apologize for the inconvenience." What was strange about the second sign was that someone had spray painted a smiling face in red next to it. All I need, I thought. I get lost so easily. I called Ryan. "Hi, buddy. I need to take a small detour at some roadworks on the main road," I said. "Hey, Joel. Roadworks, you say?" he answered. "I traveled that road today and didn't see any roadworks," he added. "Well, they're here now," I said, trying to sound cheerful. "Strange," he added. "Well, drive carefully, bud. The fog is really bad here. See you soon," he added as he hung up. Little did I realize just how strange things would turn out to be. I took the turn and in the fog of my headlights, I noticed that the gravel road detour climbed sharply and there were trees and bushes all over the place. The road was bumpy, which made my headlights dance against the trees and gravel. I wasn't really frightened, but the darting shadows unnerved me. I stopped for a moment to get my bearings and pulling hard at the handbrake to stop any rolling back on the steep climb. Gazing behind me, I could only see about 2 yards behind the car. I looked forwards again and noticed that my windscreen was all muddy. I turned the wipers on with the sprayers. "Jeez!" I shouted. 2 men were standing directly in front of my car. The car headlights and fog made them look like apparitions. Then one moved to my side window. My heart rate picked up. "Stay calm, Joel," I told myself, winding down the window. "Lost, mister?" he asked with a friendly smile and dirty teeth. His eyes were piercing, which didn't match the grin. He was well built. No, taking the detour," I answered, feeling very frightened. The other, thinner man joined him. "Fog's real thick tonight, mister," he said in a thick southern accent. He was really rough and scruffy looking. The well-built guy placed a hand on my roof rail and said, "Ain't no detours out here, mister. I think you must have taken a wrong turn," he added with an eerie smile. I suddenly noticed that the thin guy was holding a can of red spray paint. Every tentacle of fear began to rise up in me. I guess I best turn around then," I said, trying to keep my heart out of my throat. "Yeah, I think that would be best," said the big guy. "Straight down and left and you'll find the main road," said the skinny one. How does he know where the road is, if it's not a detour, I thought. The road was narrow and slippery, but somehow I managed to turn the car around after slamming into a few leaves and bushes. I looked back and the 2 men were just standing there, arms folded and smiling from what I could see through the fog. I released the handbrake to begin my journey back down the steep slope. Suddenly, the thin guy was running next to my window, fog blasting with his heavy breathing. My nerves were finished. "Oh, jeez, man," I heard myself say out loud. Straight ahead and left. Straight ahead and left," he shouted, pointing with the spray can. "I've got to get out of here," I thought. I had traveled about 200 yards when I saw the turn, leaving the running lunatic behind. As I took the turn, the road wasn't the same as the one I detoured from. The bush thickened and the road narrowed rapidly. I felt the low-speed impact into some trees and some small branches and leaves crashed down onto my car. The headlights were still working, and the misty fog surrounding me made the ideal setting for a horror movie. Everything was damp and shadows streamed from everywhere. I tried to open my door, but it was jammed against something. I closed it and again pushed it harder, but it still didn't open. Then I saw it, a small old marble cross. "Where am I?" I screamed. "Where the hell am I?" As I gathered the courage to glance around, I noticed more gravestone crosses and then, in shock, found I couldn't scream or shout. I don't know how, but I managed to put the car in reverse, but as I did, the car stalled and the two men I'd seen a short while back appeared behind the car and then ran to my window. "Mister, are you all right?" shouted the big man. "I told you to take left," the thinner one shouted. "Damn fool! No wonder you got lost. You took the wrong turn," he said aggressively. "We're on graveyard shift, mister," said the big guy. "You're not allowed to be here at night," added the skinny one. How do I get out of here?" I asked them. I was trembling and at my wit's end. "We'll help you get back on the main road, mister, but just this once," said the big guy. The thin man threw his can of red spray paint on the wet ground, and both grabbed hold of my rear bumper and pulled. The car moved backwards with such a force. This was not normal. "This is not normal!" I shouted. I recall a great force pushing me back into my seat, like I was on some jetliner about to take off, but eventually I passed out from the increasing G-forces hurtling me forwards. I woke up at around 8 a.m. in the morning, in my car, in my garage at home, and then my mobile rang. "Hi, Joel. Boy, am I glad you picked up," came the voice from the other side. It was Ryan. I tried to sit up, but I ached all over. "What happened last night, Ryan?" I asked, completely disoriented and confused. "The last I heard from you, you had to take some detour," laughed Ryan. But there was a detour, Ryan," I mumbled. I had one huge headache. "Like I said last night, Joel, there was no detour," he replied. "But..." I tried to speak. I got out of the car with great effort. I noticed the imprint from the marble cross on my door and squeezed my mobile as my heart sank. "You're always getting lost, Joel. You must have taken a wrong turn," said Ryan. My name is Liam. I'm married and have 2 children. One boy who's 12 years old and a girl who's 10 years old. I'm a retired soldier from the British Army. While I was in the Army, life was so fascinating, and I got to do a lot of new things. Every day felt like an adventure. But once this adventure turned into a disaster, and the wounds of which are still fresh in my mind. I was posted in central London at that time. I was a very good soldier, and my senior officers had a very good opinion about me. Life was very disciplined in the Army. I had the habit of going on a morning walk. I also hit the gym regularly. Due to this, I was extremely fit. One day, my senior officer, who was strict, called me and said, "Liam, I've something important to tell you." "What is it, sir?" I got tensed. I thought, what have I done now? "I'm sorry to tell you that you are no longer a soldier." I wasn't able to believe that. I thought about what I had done wrong and got really anxious. I couldn't utter a word. Then, after some time, the officer started laughing out loud and said, "Ha, I got you. You're not going anywhere, but you've been promoted to lieutenant. Congratulations." I was elated to hear this. "Thank you very much, sir," I said. "But you've been transferred to Kent, and you need to shift there in 3 days." "Okay, sir." "And you won't be able to come back home for a long time, so enjoy these days with your family." "Thank you very much, sir." I packed my luggage and went home. My wife was surprised to see me. I told her about the promotion and she was very happy. But when I told her about the transfer, she got sad. I spent the 2 days happily with my family, and after that I went to the new base. This place was located in the hilly area. I reached the base around 5 in the evening and reported to my senior. He then assembled everyone and introduced me to them and also told me about the place. He asked me to rest for the night and report sharply at 8 in the morning. The next day I got up at 4:30 and went out to walk as usual. This place was mainly a jungle area with no signs of civilization except for the military base. I kept walking without realizing I've reached quite far. I thought I should take a rest for some time and then return to the base. I sat on the rock. I was sitting and thinking about my family. All of a sudden, I heard the sound of someone clapping. I was amazed and looked around, but in vain. I didn't find anyone, so I thought this was just my assumption and no one was there. After some time again, I heard the same sound. Then again, I heard, "Who's this?" No one replied. Again, I heard the sound. I thought I should follow the direction of the sound to find out where it was coming from. I went in the direction from which the sound came, but I didn't find anyone. I saw the time and realized that I was late and I should return to the base ASAP. I reached back on time. The whole day passed like that, but the sound of the clapping was stuck in my mind and I kept thinking about it. Then the next day when I went for a walk, the same thing happened. I found that weird. I tried to find out but was unable to do so. This kept happening for a few more days. I went on a walk, hearing the sound, me following the sound, and returning without knowing anything. This became a routine. I couldn't even tell this to anyone at the base as I was afraid that they'll mock me. The next day I went for a walk. After walking again, I sat on the rock. At this time I was thinking about the sound and where it was coming from. Then, suddenly I felt someone was clapping just beside my ear. I turned to find out, but no one was there. I again heard the sound and I decided to follow that and find out who was making the sound. I followed it and entered deep inside the jungle. It was very dense and the trees were very thick and close to each other. This meant that even sunlight was barely seen there. Then the sound suddenly stopped. I couldn't find anyone there and I realized that I'd come very deep into the jungle and I should return immediately. I started for the walk as usual. I went to the same place and sat there waiting for the sound, but I didn't hear it. I decided to return back to the base, and as I got up, I heard the sound. It was coming from behind me, and as I turned around, I was disappointed as no one was there. Suddenly, I felt someone's hand on my back. I got frightened. I thought someone was calling me by patting my shoulder. I turned, it was patted again. I turned around to see, but I didn't find anyone. Then I tried to comfort myself, saying it was nothing and that it was just my wild thoughts. Suddenly I heard the sound of clapping and someone calling my name. My heart skipped a beat when I saw that someone was standing in front of me. I got extremely terrified. I ran away from there towards the base, but after some time I found that I had reached the same place from where I'd started. I couldn't believe it. I again tried to run, but this time someone was waiting for me. I saw that a guy was standing in front of me. He was looking very weird, and his hair was very, very long. His teeth looked like he hadn't brushed them for a very long time, and his nails were also very big. Seeing him, I had my heart in my mouth. After some time, I gathered some courage and asked, "Who are you?" He was laughing heavily. Who are you?" He started laughing loudly. He suddenly stopped laughing and gave a serious look and flew in the air and came towards me as if he was attacking. I bent down and closed my eyes, but he didn't attack. As I raised my head up, I found that no one was there. I was terrified and I tried to run, but again I heard the sound of clapping. After some time I could hear the loud laughter from behind me. I didn't turn and just started walking. He appeared in front of me and caught hold of me. I begged him to let go, but he didn't listen. He sat on my shoulders and started moving his hands on my face. He was about to attack me and I fainted on the spot. The next thing I saw when I woke up, I was in my base and my fellow soldiers were trying to wake me up, and they asked me what had happened. Then I requested my transfer from there to some other place and never came back.